Argentina's most powerful labor organization will convene June 27th in front of the presidential palace in Buenos Aires to protest government policies. The gathering comes on the heels of a truckers' strike that left gas stations in Buenos Aires dry, forcing the Argentine military to drive fuel tankers themselves. The scope of the strike and the break it represents between the labor groups and the normally labor-friendly government is an indication of growing political opposition to President Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner. Striking unionists from the General Labor Federation, or CGT, will convene in front of the Casa Rosada around 3 p.m. local time. The union expects as many as 100,000 people to show up at the protest. The Fernandez government has refused to provide security for the protests, and the impact on central Buenos Aires can be expected to be significant. The basis for the gathering is an ongoing dispute over income taxes. But the driving reason for the escalation of negotiations this year is the political break that has formed between CGT union leader Hugo Moyano and the Fernandez government. Though Moyano has had a working relationship with the previous government of Nestor Kirchner, his relationship with Fernandez has been deteriorating since her husband died in October of 2010. Things took a turn for the worse after her October 2011 re-election. It was at that point that the government began to implement substantial changes to the Argentine economy that have affected businesses and workers alike. Fernandez's government came to power under the auspices of Peronismo, a political ideology pioneered by former President Juan Perón, who served as president 3 times, mostly in the 1940s and 1950s. Peronismo united the political power of the presidency with the grassroots power of labor movements. The result was a political structure that relies on the executive to redistribute wealth to the working classes, particularly in Buenos Aires. But years of subsidies and industrial deterioration are starting to catch up, and the government is making sharp economic policy changes to compensate. These changes have included strict capital controls that affect the ability of Argentines to get access to much-needed U.S. dollars. At the same time, monetary expansion continues to drive high inflation, and paychecks don't always make up the difference. For these structural reasons, Fernandez is losing political support. Despite his prominence, Moyano himself is unlikely to serve as a direct political opponent to Fernandez. A more likely candidate is the popular governor of Buenos Aires province, Daniel Scioli. Scioli has had an alliance with the Fernandez and Kirchner governments. However, there has always been an element of tension between Scioli and Fernandez, who sees Scioli's consistent popularity as a potential threat. With financial troubles mounting throughout the country, Scioli will likely use the unrest generated by Moyano and his supporters to generate an alternative political vision and position himself for the presidency in October 2015. Between now and then, however, there are huge questions about the stability of the Argentine economy. The government's finances continue to tighten, and economic growth has begun to slow. Very likely, the public unrest that has been growing in 2012 is only the beginning of turmoil in Buenos Aires.